Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in South Florida, it's time for South Florida Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of South Florida Business Radio, and this is going to be a good one. But before we get started, it's important to recognize our sponsor, Diaz Trade Law, your customs expert. Today on South Florida Business Radio, we have Carol Aurich and her team at Florida Storm Panel Supply. Welcome, Carol.
Hello. Thank you so much, Lee.
I'm so excited to learn what you're up to. But before we get started, can you introduce your team?
Sure. Excellent. Today, they are with me, Tom Llerena, our sales manager, and with expertise in all the hurricane protection system. And we do have Mario Callejas, also in the industry for a long time, with a lot of knowledge in all what is involved with our products.
Well, before we get too far into things, tell us a little bit about Florida Storm Panel Supply. How are you serving folks?
Okay, we do manufacture removable galvanized steel hurricane storm panels. Pretty much that's the little silver things that you see outdoors in doors and windows when you see a hurricane. Those have been for a long time in the market, and we do manufacture those in different gauges, what we call, which is the thickness of the panel. And pretty much these products are very important in the time of hurricane for people who would like to protect their homes, in this area that we are here in Miami with this very unpredictable weather.
So what was the genesis of the idea? How did this concept get started?
Well, this company has been in the market for the last 20 years. It used to have our older partner, and then under our administration, it's been for the last 11 years. So we met a long time ago, and then in this industry, we just thought it was a good idea, of course, because of the environment in which we are. And it's been a great business. It's great to be involved in what is happening regarding the weather and to help people get protected.
Now, how has kind of the industry evolved over the years? I grew up in South Florida, and when I was younger, there wasn't a lot of that, the protection that you're supplying around, and people used to just make do with, their own wood and cardboard and things like that. How has it evolved? Has this service become kind of a must-have nowadays rather than a nice-to-have?
Pretty much, Lee. For the most part, the old-style plywood panels that somehow store outside the backyard or in a garage or whatever, they inevitably warp or become distorted. Our panels are interchangeable within each opening. There's not an ABC. It's one opening, and any panel will go in any area of that one opening. And they nest within each other. So basically, you could store a whole house full of panels in an area 14 inches wide by maybe a foot deep as far as the thickness of the panels overall. As Carol mentioned, we have two different gauges, the 22 and 20 gauge galvanized steel panels. All our panels are hemmed on the edge. Over time, there have been instances of people getting cut because the side edges. It's galvanized steel. We hem the edges so that that's more of a safety issue. We also sell a lot of industry standard components for all sorts of hurricane protection, whether it's panels, accordions, roll shutters, locks, etc.
So now the consumer has a lot of choices when it comes to protecting their home during a hurricane that maybe they didn't have, 5, 10, 20 years ago?
Correct. Panels are basically the industry standard as far as the entry level or first step. One of our main customers is a major home builder down here in South Florida. And they find that it's easier and more cost-effective to provide regular windows with panels as a protection, as opposed to a permanent shutter or impact windows the prospective homeowner can also, if it's a new construction, upgrade to a permanent system and then throw it into their initial mortgage. But panels have been a mainstay forever. They're not obvious on the house at all. Basically, so they're not invisible, but they only come out when there's an event, a storm event. All of our products are Miami-Dade County code approved for the high velocity hurricane zone, which is where we live.
Now, so what is it like from the consumer standpoint? Say they have an older home that they didn't have this as part of their home when it was built, and they say, you know what, this is something, it's time to invest in this. How does that go about? Is there special permitting that they have to go through to install this? Do you teach them how to, put them on and take them off and things like that? How does that kind of onboarding of a new client work for you?
Yeah, part of the service we provide is whether it's a general contractor or a specialty contractor that has been asked by a homeowner or a commercial property to provide hurricane protection. They bring us the measurements and the site conditions, and we sit down and do a basically consulting exercise.
Included with the service, yes.
Exactly. To navigate, to put together the permit package and help them navigate the building and zoning process. In each individual municipality down here has their own set of guidelines, and they're all different. You can't just boilerplate a permit package that would be applicable in Miami-Dade or in Broward or in Palm Beach County. Monroe County also, all of these within the high velocity hurricane zone. Sometimes it's a new thing for them, and we basically just help them navigate.
Those are one of our important keys for representing our company, because not a lot of companies do this kind of service. Most of them must have a list, know what to buy, and that's it. They don't talk to you. They don't have the time for you. We do provide that service. So if it is a homeowner who doesn't have any idea how to install, what are the sizes, or if it is a general contractor with a huge amount of projects, we help them. We provide the permits. We give all the measurements. We tell them. We are all the time step by step with them along the installation process.
So yours is more of a full service, kind of white glove service, rather than just here's the stuff, go figure it out on your own.
Correct.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, if you go to a big box store like a Home Depot or Lowe's, it's pretty much you better know what you need and buy it here, and hopefully you bought the right thing. Here we do hold your hand, make sure that you're getting the right thing for whatever condition you might have, whether it's a concrete construction, wood frame construction. It just depends, and trying to make as least of a architectural impact on the house as possible.
And it doesn't sound like this isn't a one size fits all situation. Every house kind of is unique, and you need your handheld if you want to do it right.
Right, you're 100% correct, Lee.
Now, when you got into this business and you started kind of helping the consumer out, was it always direct to consumer, or it's been a combination of home builders and consumers as your clients?
Always a combination. I always say the worst thing that an expert is someone that thinks they're an expert, and you'll have people come in with hieroglyphics on a piece of paper that makes sense to them, but basically we decipher that into a correct product, cut sheet for the particular project.
Also, to avoid any kind of, lawsuit or anything, because a bad installation could be a huge damage in a house in terms if a hurricane actually comes.
Yeah. The Miami-Dade building code is very, very strict as far as fastener type, fastener spacing, what we call the deflection, or the distance between the face of glass to the inside back of the hurricane protection, whether it's panels or accordions or whatever. And the product approval has various applications on it. So part of the permit process is to highlight that product approval specific to the job site.
Now, when when it's properly installed and a hurricane happens, is this a situation where like this can be kind of total protection for the home, that nothing is going to crash through the windows or crash through the doors or whatever area is being protected? Do you have kind of some stories where you can share that maybe a home that was protected with your materials versus one that wasn't protected, how that turned out in a storm?
Oh, sure. The key to hurricane protection for any structure is to protect the envelope. Basically, you want no opening larger than the size of your computer screen, basically that size, to be open, because enough pressure, the exterior pressure drops drastically, sometimes in an instant. And if the pressure is not based on the pressure on the outside of with you on the inside, as long as all the openings are protected, you're in good state. Now, personal experience, my home during Andrew, for instance, had panels. I mean, I upgraded to accordions later, but panels on every opening. My neighbor right next door had nothing. Blew off the roof, blew out the windows. I mean, devastated. It was a total loss. And my house, perfect. My neighbor's house that had panels also, perfect. It's like side by side. That was a pressure problem, I believe, in that case. And debris flying through the air. You could break a window, and then all of a sudden you got the pressure problem.
But it is also a combination of protecting your windows, doors, but as well you need to make sure that you have a good roof, maintain it. Also the garage door, everything, whatever the air can come through is very dangerous. So you have to be protected in every way. You have to have the knowledge and don't wait until the last moment, because everything is very complicated. For example, the roof. If you have a bad roof, but you have panels, then you can blame the panels because you had a bad roof. So everything is a get-together thing to get covered.
Right. So everything has to be working together in order to have the most protection.
Correct.
Yes.
Now, when you're kind of recommending this to especially new home builders, I would imagine that part of the selling price is, look, the communities that invest in this in the front end are the ones that are going to be around if the storm happens, and then the value of all these other homes are going to be, they'll be all better served by having this as kind of built into the home choice when you're building. Are builders kind of investing in this, or they're kind of relying on every individual homeowner to make the decision themselves?
Well, the Miami-Dade Building Code, Broward Building Code also, I mean, it's basically Florida. The current code is Florida Building Code 2020. And basically you cannot do a new construction without having an impact rated device or impact windows on the property. That instance I quoted earlier of having non-impact windows with panels, it's a cost thing as far as the builders. It costs them less to do that as opposed to putting in standard impact glass or standard permanent shutter. There's a level of complacency that kicks in after, say, 5 years have gone by, 10 years have gone by without a major storm. And that happened, prior to Andrew, and various storms in between. But unless I'm a native here in Miami, and unless you've really been through it, and you don't want to be inside without protection, and you look at what's happening on the outside, it's a catastrophic event that can happen. Unfortunately, we don't learn. Well, we learned because we redid all the codes and the roofing codes, like Carol mentioned, the garage door codes. You need to protect the envelope, cover every opening.
Right, but I agree that there's a level of complacency in the sense that, it's been a year, they say there's going to be a storm, no storm. There's going to be a storm, no storm. And then they start thinking, especially as people are moving to South Florida from everywhere. They don't have that scar tissue that natives have. And it seems like, how big of a deal is this? And when the storm punches you in the face, then you realize, but it's sad that they have to kind of live through that destruction in order to really understand the impact of a storm.
We were actually talking about that earlier because people just they forget. And then since they don't see in the news that a storm is coming and they don't have the chart with the 5-day map, they don't do anything. But the season is being like kind of delayed because of global warming, all the changes that have happened lately. So it's not that a storm is not going to come. We are still in August, and pretty much is we were in May right now. Right. So we don't know what is going to happen for the rest of the year. So that's why it is so important to be alert and updated and be protected. It doesn't matter if you choose a impact window. Of course, it's going to be, you are going to pay a higher price. But if you start with the panel, you are going to be for sure, at least you're going to have a peace of mind that if something is going to come, you are going to be ready.
Yeah, this is a pay me now or pay me later situation. It's not a matter of if another storm or hurricane's coming. It's going to come at some point. You just don't know when.
Exactly.
So if somebody wants to learn more about your company and the services you offer, what is the best way to get a hold of you or somebody on your team?
Sure. Our phone number is 305-685-9000. And we also have our webpage, which is www.floridastormllc.com.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story today. You're doing important work, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Lee, for the opportunity.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We'll see you all next time on South Florida Business Radio.